Today, I'm excited to announce the winners of the FL Studio giveaway. We're well on our way into winter, it's getting pretty chilly, so I'm also going to make a chill beat. But first, the giveaway results. As I mentioned, we were giving away 3 copies of FL Studio and also a Zoom call with myself, and the winners of each of those prizes will be up on the screen. They will also be linked down below, and I will send each of you an email to make sure that you get your prize. Thank you so much once again to FL Studio for providing the prizes and for running the giveaway with me, and thank you to everybody for entering too. It was wonderful to hear from you all and to engage with everybody on the videos on YouTube and on Instagram, and I really hope to encourage and inspire any of you who are just starting out to really believe in yourself and go for it. And don't worry, if you didn't win this time, there will always be other opportunities in the future. If you're new to the channel here, it's so great to have you. I hope you're all having a good December so far, and let's just get into a chill beat. So that is way too fast. Maybe I don't want it to be 4 on the floor line. Nice. I've been messing around with that chord progression and some smooth, slow drums, and I'm actually really pleased with this. I'll show you a quick demo just to give you an idea of the feels, and then I will break it down.
I know those eyes are hiding something, burning bright blue, pulling me into the waves, and it's so glorious. I know no light could light from nothing, something so true, calling me into the waves, and I'm so curious. Fire and ice, feeling me melt under her spell, the flow in my blood, I can't stop. Look to the sky, where heaven meets hell, pure caramel, feeling this flood every drop.
Wow, I don't know where that one came from. I obviously from the beginning wanted there to be lots of space within this, and the challenge was to honor that all the way through and find sounds that had a nice transient character that would then be able to reverberate and have delays on them to fill the space rather than having melodies and chords on all the time. I just wanted something to make a statement and then for that statement to reverberate. So just a basic chord progression, it really just is on the beat with 4 bars of space in between that I then just added a delay and reverb tail to. And then reversed it into itself, just to give even more dynamic motion. And then also controlled the panning of the reverb tail, or the reverse reverb here. So the main sound stays in the middle, but the reverse reverb is panning from side to side. So you've got this centered sound, and then you've also got so much dynamic presence and motion sweeping through from side to side. And the same thing applies with the lead. And then this little rev glitch that I have here, I found sounds from my old songs, exported them, and just take note of the key and the pitch and so on, and then thought, oh, well, this would actually work perfectly with that. But I have the dry signal way down initially, so that it's coming from a way back in space, and then it moves its way to the front as the dry signal comes up. And then that, of course, all builds into a big drop. I was just paying attention when I was putting all of those together to how it made me feel, how it made my body move. Then just added in a very simple drum pattern just with a kick and a snare. I really didn't, or it's more like a kick and a rim shot, but I really didn't want to overcomplicate this. And it can sound almost too basic and simple initially, but it's because you've got all this unfilled space. And it's easy to underestimate how powerful a kick and a snare are. You just think that, well, of course, they just keep the rhythm and the tempo. Those guide the movement of everything. In a way, the kick and the snare are your leaders. They are directing the story. Then I just added in drums that would complement that spaciousness. So, for example, this shaker that I have reverberating and panning from side to side in a ping pong delay. A spacious ride hit. I just had to really listen to how my body wanted to move with respect to the hi-hats. So I've called it hat, but it's actually more of a shaker sound. And initially I had it doing way more than needed to. It could just be kept super simple. And then I added in this loop with hats that would be a bit faster and more emphasized. There's a subtle snare that comes in to complement the rim here. It just makes it a little bit different to when it's on its own in the verses. But there's space at the end of each phrasing, and that's a really important thing to think of when you're putting drums together, is the phrasing of those drums. You don't just want the same sounds on all the time. You want to think, okay, these drums are trying to say something or convey a certain movement or emotion. And then this little glitch thing at the end just really emphasizes the end of that phrasing. And it's very big, built up and intense, but then it slams in to spaciousness again. It really helps slam into the kick, the next section, the next phrase. I used the same technique with the sub and paired it with the kick and the snare like I mentioned in my previous video. And I just made sure that it was nice and thick, being sidechained to the kick, and was just full and not too overcomplicated. And I wanted this little section here to feel like it was floating. By taking the snare and the other high tops away, it leaves this spaciousness so that the lead sounds, everything else can be emphasized, and the sub just stays on and it glides. Then it all comes back in again. Just little things like that make the storytelling and the character of your song so much more interesting. And actually it's not that tricky because you're just cutting stuff away. The tricky thing, of course, is knowing when to do it and how to do it tastefully, but that just develops with practice. The final element I added in before adding the vocals were just some sound effects, and these are actually really significant. I have a lo-fi style vinyl crackle, and then I also have this echoing reverb that sounds almost like water and ice moving in a cave, or a candle in a cave. I will only cut that out if there are moments of silence that I really want to emphasize. But it is easy to forget that that is there. When you then throw it on the bottom, you forget that that is actually still filling up quite a lot of the sonic profile of the song. And so if you've got these little silence parts here,
Can't stop.
you want to remember to remove them when you're trying to emphasize silence at any points in the song. Then I used some of my favorite sound effects, which are these ice crackle sounds, and paired them with the kick, so that the kick has a bit more chunk and grit to it. But not every kick, just the introductory kick at the start of each phrase. Then in the main choruses, I also just added some waves and other sound effects just to fill in that textural foundation even more. And you've just got to be really careful with the volumes of these. Then I paired together two sound effects. One was this laser groaning ice thing, which I've used before, but in order to make it a little bit more different, I cut it up so that it would sit with the tempo and the rhythm that there would be in this particular song. And then I also changed the panning so it would go from side to side. And then I also changed the pitch, so it would fall down in pitch as it was dropping in tempo as well. I then also took this sound effect here. It's some sort of weird one-shot sound, but I was playing around with it. I threw it right the way down, and it actually sounded like this really thick, wholesome, but smooth bass sound. And again, I chopped that up to match this other sound effect, and I pitched it down. So I've got this little pitch slide here, so it slides right up an octave higher and then falls down the octave and then down another octave all the way down. So I'll show you this. And then just a couple different risers just to emphasize those phrases as well. I love how that whole section sounds.
To the waves, and I'm so curious. Fire and ice, feeling me.
And then over across on the right, I was just experimenting with different tempos and keys. And I will probably continue to experiment with the keys and the tempos because it's been a pretty tough decision. I asked you guys on Instagram, and a lot of you were saying that you liked the higher tempo version, but then quite a few of you said that you liked the slower version, so I haven't made my mind up yet, but whichever way, I'm loving how silky it has turned out. So that was that. If you have any other questions about this, just leave them down below or send me a message on my Instagram. Thanks very much for watching. I really appreciate you guys checking out all the videos, leaving comments and engaging with me. It's so great to hear from you. Congratulations to everybody who won the giveaway, and best of luck to you all for the next one. I can't wait to share the next video with you, but until then,
Fire and ice, feeling me melt under her spell, flowing my blood, I can't stop. Look to the sky, where heaven meets hell. Pure caramel, the feeling is flood every drop.